Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Shooting the Shelf here on Just Shelve It. I am Jesse Arnold. With me is Curtis Ackerman. How are you doing tonight, Curtis?
Doing excellent.
Fantastic. I'm literally hot off the road coming back from ZoloCon in Warminster, Pennsylvania, where I was helping with Len LaGuardia and Team Wolf King at the Wolf King Customs table right next to Four Horsemen and Chris, in between the Horsemen and Chris and the D13 Biblical Adventures table. So it's nice to continue the Mythics and Toy Love into the awesome chat we've got going on tonight. I actually got to see our guest in person for a little bit this morning amongst all the hubbub of the show. So let's give a round digital warm welcome to Steph Delatour, aka DTour Customs.
Hey. What's up, Steph?
How are you doing, man?
Well, happy ZoloCon weekend for both of you guys. Looks like you guys had a lot of fun.
Only one missing, man. I was like, Jess, man, missing Kurt, man. It would have been great if Kurt was here.
Yeah. But hey, Curtis, you'll get that in a couple of weeks with Muskegon. I cannot pronounce the name of that. I can say Muskegon.
Yeah.
And Muskegon. Nope.
There you go.
Can't do it.
It's all right. It looked like it was a pretty busy show. Like, man, that Horseman table was packed, and I saw Chris's table set up. Looked really cool. So yeah, good stuff. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later. Talk about any cool stuff you guys picked up along the way, or people that you talked to. So
absolutely.
What's going on, guys?
Lots of folks joining in already tonight. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. Cool. All right. So, Steph, we were telling you a little bit before we get started. We do our we call it the shelf selections, where Kirsten and I pick a couple pictures each week of different creative posts we see on the Cabal or on Instagram or whatever. So let's jump right into those. First up is that's just a picture.
Oh, look at those two handsome devils.
I don't know why my beard and hair look so white in that picture.
It's because you're enlightened. It's so great. I love it, man.
I wish it looked like that all the time.
I don't like when I'm talking to you live, Jesse. It doesn't happen. But anytime I see you in pictures, all I see is Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Like, I think it's the facial expression that you have when you take pictures. Like, I'm just waiting for you to throw the 2x4 over your shoulder and go, oh.
I can't unsee it now.
I think was it Robert Crosser, one of our guys from the Cabal in the UK. He always calls me Hacksaw Jesse all the time when he comments on stuff. It's great. So yes, all right. That's not one of the picks, but I had to throw that up since I got to see you this morning. First up is from Corona 4.
Neat.
Curtis.
Yeah, this was one of mine. This is Nate Strong, Corona 4. Obviously, we know he does some great shots. This one I thought was just amazing. Good mix of, you've got some custom parts in the background with that Tri-Orc head. You've got the Nate Barch kit. And then I think is that one of your weapons there?
Yeah. That's one of the ogre scale weapons on the
and then so you got these three half giants, and then you just got this one goblin that's gonna face down all of them, and I just thought this was an amazing shot. Like, he doesn't look scared. He looks like he's ready for the challenge, and yeah, I just thought this was really cool.
Yeah, I think I heard him talking on the show with Thomas on Friday, the my favorite mythic. I think he called this the David and Goliath shot.
Yeah.
Which it's interesting because usually David's the heroic. Over here we got this goblin that's just not backing down. I love it.
Yeah.
And Nate always does a great job of really telling the story of a really good showdown. The posture of the goblin and the essential imposing stature of the half giants. They're not ignoring this goblin. They're literally ready to square up. So just in this frame alone, Nate is such a great storyteller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just awesome. Like it's not quite a straight up pose on the goblin. He's got a little bit of that head forward, the right
he looks like he's got some swagger to him. Like he just looks like like he's he doesn't care, you know.
Yeah. Honey Badger don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next one. From AW Designs. I don't remember this creator's name, regular name. But I saw this Dio work and absolutely blew me away. Just love the arches and everything, and it's a really cool looking piece.
Yeah, I love it looks like there's like a gargoyle up in the top corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything, the floor, the walls, the different openings. Even some of the like bricks you can see are kind of pushed in a little bit more than others. And yeah, just overall this, I mean, it looks like it's not done and painted yet because I can see some of the writing on the foam.
Oh yeah.
But it's already looking pretty awesome. So
yeah, this is like the sketch equivalent of a diorama in the making. You know, that having an uncolored sketch in itself is beautiful, and there's something about it so unique that you kind of lose when you add color to it. But I feel the same about this, you know, in its rawest form, you know, before it's finished. It's so awesome to look at.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that statue in the corner is the death from the Thanos, maybe the Marvel Select Thanos.
Okay.
Yeah, the Lady Death figure. So those are pretty you know, full size doorways. So I'll be watching this. I'm sure when I get down the road, when we see this more complete, I'll have the final piece in the picks that week. But yeah, like you said, Steph, the sketch, I love the raw, unfinished look of this stuff. Just like pencil sketches are always so cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Up next, Curtis.
Yeah, this is Geek Turtle on Instagram, which is Dean Wright. He actually, if you go to his Instagram on this one here, it's got several different pictures. This was just one that I picked out that I really loved of it, but he did this whole setup with like a bunch of different Dark Templars and skeletons. He had one like coming out of a coffin and stuff. And I just love the whole shot. Like you got, you know, the Dark Templar on the horse, you got the fog rolling in, you know, just the whole fight scene, just the way that it's set up. And this is one of those things that, you know, I know I've talked a lot about on this show, that the way these things photograph, because of the hidden articulation, it looks like it's a scene out of a movie. I mean, now on the horse, you can see, especially with that back leg, you can see a little bit of that articulation, but the figures themselves, you don't see any of those points to where it looks like a toy. It looks like it's something out of a movie. So just great shot. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I love that piece of broken bush or tree or whatever that's in the background that, you know, isn't that big in real life, but it's just the right scale out of focus with the figures, that it just looks like a, you know, a real like full size dead tree behind him and everything.
Yeah.
One thing Dean does that I love in his war shots, he uses smoke or fog to really conceal a lot of the environment, but it also adds an element of you know, chaos, fog of war, and just this, you can almost smell it. Like it smells like cataclysm and murder. Like I love it. It's a really good shot.
Well, I thought it was really cool in the shot that he set up, especially because it looks like it's a morning fog that's rolled in. You've got these like skeletons like climbing out of coffins and stuff. It's like, you know, it's like the very beginning of the day, and you know, these Dark Templars are trying to fight these undead, and yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
So
love it.
Masterpiece.
This one, I had to crop this one a little bit because I couldn't get quite the right screenshot to get all of this, but this is from, oh man, my eyes, I can't see.
Eric.
Yeah.
Eric Tiedemann. Apologies if we're pronouncing that wrong. This is, what did he call this? The Jungle Chief, with over 60 sculpted parts and hidden cheetah briefs. Yeah, so the loincloth on this, the hip joint, he painted to look like leopard undies.
Yeah.
I see it,
yeah. But I just
go ahead.
excuse me, I just always have one when I was a kid, anything related to voodoo or jungle stuff terrified me because I saw some paper on the shelf in the tabloid section at the grocer's, like blue voodoo devil terrorizes, rainforest. And just as like this 5-year-old kid, I had no idea what any of that meant, but I had nightmares for weeks. But I see this stuff now, and obviously it's fantasy played up version of it, but this one just really impressed me, all the detail he put into this.
I know Jeremy's got the he's calls it the Voodoo Queen or Princess of the Frogs. It's got a couple different names for it. That's just an awesome one. I made kind of a voodoo orc like early on when I first started customizing, but this thing is amazing. Like the attention that Eric put to this with all the different bones that he painted on, the whole body, the skulls, the leopard, cheetah, underoos. I mean, everything. This thing just, you can tell there was a lot of hours and attention that went into this. So great job.
Serpent and the Rainbow, indeed.
Oh yeah,
Bill Pullman. Terrifying movie to see him just get dragged into the ground and it's chills.
It's like again, this, like, if you didn't have the stuff behind it, this would almost look like a person, made up for a movie or something.
Yeah,
like I can hear the bones rattling as he's walking, like the skulls clinking on the spear. It's just
it's like one of those in a movie where you'd be kind of like in the middle of a jungle or something. You kind of feel like there's somebody watching you, but you don't see them. And then all of a sudden, like the face just kind of comes through from the bushes and stuff. And, all of a sudden it's like, oh crap. Yeah. Like I'm in trouble. Yeah. All right. So I got my next two. So it's this one, and then Jesse will have one, and then it'll be the next one. It's from a newer gentleman in the Cabal. He's only been in since late January. He's done a lot of toy photography, but he's just getting into mythics, and he's just doing an awesome job. So this is Carl Ortega, and I think on Instagram, I think we'll have it on the next one, but it's Chlora Snaps. Yeah. So the first one, that Undead Paladin, like this thing is just really cool. It kind of took that Tibius kind of look and just like went with it and just totally decked this thing out. It's a little bit hard to see here. I should have probably just done an individual shot of this, but that armor is just a really cool, like dark blue metallic. It's got a cool little chest logo on it, the tattered cloth on there. And then we'll show a couple orcs here in a little bit that he did. And yeah,
just go right into it.
Yeah. So these two orcs, the one on the right is also in the picture with both of them there, but you can see like the damage that he did to the pauldron. Like he kind of cut some dents and nicks into the pauldron, did all that like war paint on there. Then the first soft goods, like I just think he's just killing it for a new guy into the Cabal and new guy into Mythic Legions. I definitely wanted to call him out because I thought these were both awesome.
Agreed. I mean, even the broken horn and just the weathering. A lot of times when we think about how we weather and battle damage some of the toys, it's not always in scale. But this guy has a great understanding of scale. And just give us the smallest bit of chipping, the minute details, and it culminates into this massive piece of delicious plastic. Look, oh my God, I'm stunned. This is the first time I'm seeing this too. This is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked on the one, like on that pauldron there, like it's got on the ridge in the top, it's got a nick. And then if you look on the ridge below, there's another nick in that same spot, like a sword came down and hit both parts of that pauldron. So it's a very cohesive look to it. I thought he did amazing.
Very well. The damage is telling a story, and that's telling a story with the customs is a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that red with the white paint. I was planning on doing something similar with a Fury Orc at some point. So I just think that white war paint on that red body would just look really striking.
I think his red one had blue paint on it.
Oh, is it blue?
Yeah, I think it's blue on the red, and then he's got the white paint on the green one. But
okay,
it's a great contrast.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he joined the Cabal on January 30th. and just got into Mythics. So he's not a month in. Like, I think this guy is going to be on fire here in the next couple months. So,
and I just love the tank look of the skeleton.
Yes, it's not bony. It looks very robust, and it's a healthy skeleton. I love it.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yep.
And in between, I picked this one from, is it Junior Rivero or J.R. Rivero? Man, I don't know what is up with the pictures this week. They just did not transfer very well. Elven Knight took a Bardric, altered the flesh tone, gave him a little bit paler eyes, and put it looks like mostly on a Balam body, I think. But I just really like the rework of that head. I mean, I love Bardric as he is, but I've been enjoying seeing some of the things people are doing to reuse that face in different ways.
Right.
Yeah, I like what he did with the hair there. I saw like he was doing kind of in progress pictures as he was doing it. And he kind of said something about there being like fairies in the line and stuff. So he did this hairdo that's kind of it's got like multiple colors in it. Kind of got this very fairy, like rainbowy kind of effect. So I thought that was really cool on there. And then, you know, that I don't have a Balam, but yeah, I'm a sucker for that armor. So
yeah,
it's one of the few things I refuse to paint over. That violet blue metallic with the teal and the gold trim. I mean, oof.
Yeah, that's a beautiful look.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think oh no, I had one more. I can't pass up some gorgeous fuzz monks from I'm not going to say that right. Jay Sassant. Apologies for butchering names tonight, folks. What? But yeah, I saw, I think a couple of these they posted a while ago, but I think the red one is the newest one. But I just love these color schemes on the fuzz monks, as I'm sure you all well know at this point.
Yeah, those are gorgeous paint jobs on the heads. I love the one on the far right, the armor color and everything. I thought the details really popped on that. As soon as you showed me this one that you were going to show this week, I was like, well, this has got Jesse written all over it. So, yeah.
And I want to give a quick shout out to Patrick Boyle. He was at the table with us this weekend. He almost as soon as I saw him, he just like hands me this little plastic baggie, and there's a Mephitor head in it. So
nice.
I got another fuzz monk I can work on.
And we were talking about it before we went live, but Patrick has grown one of the most amazing beards I've ever seen. Like when I saw him in a picture earlier this weekend, I was like, who is that guy? And then I was like, oh, that's Patrick. That is an amazing beard that Patrick's sporting this weekend.
I didn't recognize him when I saw him. I was like, who is this distinguished gentleman who looks like he commandeers the finest ship in the West?
Yeah.
And he gave a shout out earlier saying, hey guys, and Jesse, thank you, madam. I literally finished dinner with some of the guys, hopped in my car, and was here like 10-15 minutes before we all got on here. So
that's awesome.
Nick of time.
Yes, and I think I'll say one more thing here. I think the arms on the red fuzz monk in the middle, I believe those are Kylo Ren Black Series arms, maybe. But yeah, I just love, like you were saying, Curtis, the different colors in the armor and how they not stand up, but like are striking with the colors of the heads that he painted. So
I would be interested to see somebody do a fuzz monk with the gnome parts just to create a little bit different scale. You've got a little bit of that there with the one in the middle. It's a little bit shorter, but I think putting some of those gnome hands and feet on a fuzz monk would be kind of cool. So challenge thrown out to Jesse there.
I was just going to say challenge accepted,
but I think that would be cool. Just kind of have a little bit shorter one. We've seen the big hulking fuzz monks now. I've got one and Jesse's got one, but yeah, I think getting a little tiny guy in there would be cool too.
Fuzzy bruisers.
I'll see what I can do. If someone doesn't beat me to it now that you've put the challenge out. All right, and that wraps up shelf selections tonight.
So let's talk a little bit about ZoloCon. You guys just got back. What kind of things did you see? Who did you talk to? What did you pick up? Like, tell us about your experience. We'll start with you, Steph.
So this is my third ZoloCon, and I have fond memories of the first one, and I just remember feeling like the nostalgic quality of our day-to-day conventions had been restored. I'd been jaded by the New York City Comic Cons. It's become this whole corporate mess, but I've steadily come across a lot of new cons that are traditionally conventions in all shapes and forms and sizes. So ZoloCon it's at this place called the Fuge, which is some abandoned space age facility, and they just kind of repurposed it for conventions or just a general venue in a sense. But everything that I could possibly want in an action figure was there. The Horsemen were there. Years previous, Plunderlings were there. All the vintage figures, cosplayers, NECA, and it was heaven. It was pure heaven, and I found tons and tons of great deals. I had initially planned to go yesterday, but the wife got sick, so I ended up having to stay home with the kid. Oh yeah, Trevor. I miss Trevor. Trevor's my road dog. We go to all the cons together. But I went today, and luckily there was no lines. There was peace. There was serenity. I was able to, browse through the crowd and glance at the tables in relative tranquility, and it was such a great experience. I was not stressed out. I wasn't short of breath. It wasn't hot. It was great, And of course, I got to see my main man over here, Jesse. But it was a great experience, and the Horsemen, everybody was there. Cornboy, Eric, Jim, Jeremy, Joe, Diego, Chris G. With the outstanding Biblical Adventures line on display, man. And if anyone's in the chat and you haven't gone and supported that Kickstarter, I implore you to do as much tonight, right now, or else I'm going to come for you. But great line. But he had the display out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just can't wait for it. I was quite literally in toy heaven. For me, the drive is about 2 hours and change, and it's worth it every single time. Love ZoloCon.
That's awesome. Did you have any cool pickups that you got there?
Hell yeah! Oh man, let me tell you. So I've had anxiety for the past few months. Ever since we left LegionsCon, I was like, I didn't get enough builders, so stocked up on some dwarf builders and the barbarian builder, deluxe of course, and found this really great deal. Someone was selling NECA gargoyles, all 5 that have been released, for $130. I'm like,
wow.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
but it was quite the deal. Quite the deal. So yeah, the trip was definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
That's awesome. What about you, Jesse?
Of course, I got there Friday night, and our very own in the chat, River Swift, Danny Cottle, put me up in his hotel room, and we had some real awesome conversation Friday night. All the time I got to hang out with Danny was great. Got to the con early Saturday morning, met up with like all the guys Steph just mentioned, and then like Len, Patrick, Nate, Anthony House Seal, Joe Vazpolo, and Jort or Cookie. Everybody was there. It was really cool, like on the staff side, and then just tons of people coming in. I saw was it Eddie, action figurist, on Instagram, came up. And one of the cool things, backtracking from just this experience at ZoloCon, I met Steph at the Toy Con side of LegionsCon 21 a year and a half ago, or a little over a year ago. And he was the first guy I met that was connected to Legions. Like, I hadn't gotten into the Cabal. It was Saturday and LegionsCon wasn't going on yet. And he had some weapons and stuff out, and like his display all going. And then when we got to chat a little bit Saturday, and Sunday. It was really fun. And then at ZoloCon last year, I'm standing there in line, and he comes up, bumps up behind me, and he's like, "Hey Jess, how's it going?" And I was like, he remembered me, and like this just blew me away. And like that just further, I think, is another example of the whole community with the Cabal, which we talk about all the time. But I just thought that was really cool, and yeah, getting to see you again today was really fun.
Oh, dude, man, I was excited, man. When I heard you were going to be there, I'm like,
so if anybody's feeling Jesse overload, they can blame Steph. Is that what you're saying?
Put it all on me.
But yeah, it was big thanks to Danny and Len for getting me to be there this weekend this year. So that was a lot of fun, and had a lot of fun working the Wolf King table. Got to introduce a lot of people to the line, how the customizing works. It was just really cool, and I think I had 3 or 4 people over the weekend, like just grumpily but playfully be like, "Well, thanks for giving me a new addiction."
Yeah.
And they walk off to the Horseman table to buy some figures and get started down the hole. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I know you initially you didn't think that you were going to be able to go this year, so I think it's cool that you were able to go there, and sounds like you had a good time. So that's cool.
Yes, yeah, had a great time. Yeah, got
and
some
other than
from Len and.
Other than your Mephitor head, were you able to pick up anything this weekend?
I did. I snagged an ice troll. They had the original ice troll marked down a little bit for a con price. So
wow.
As much as I like that Cyclops head on the new one coming, I was like, I can save a couple bucks and just go with which is the head I would have put on it anyway, the classic,
right? The
horns and the beard. So.
It looked like they brought some fire this weekend too. Like they, not only had the builders and things like that, and obviously Alithia, but I saw, some people were saying they had Zarya and they had Calavius and some Sir Gerards, and so they brought some cool stuff.
The 2 hot ones I noticed yesterday were Zarya and Calavius. Today they had Ragna, Steel Knight, and Sir Gerard. And I think those were the three hot ones today. They had some Belphegors, Malfars, some of the Airthier stuff that's not as frequent anymore.
Yeah,
yeah.
That Calavius is that's one of my top 5 figures. Like it's so good. The only thing I wish they would have had an alternate head with it, like an unhelmeted head. But still, that figure is awesome. So. Cool. All right. So Steph, what do you got? What do you got going on? What's cooking? I know, last we heard from you, it was kind of leading up to LegionsCon, that road to LegionsCon stuff. You're doing a lot of stuff with Melissa.
Yeah.
And just kind of what things you got in the works for Mythic as well as Cosmic coming up. Like what do you got going on?
So, most of 2022 was a wild year. My son was born in May, and I had been, literally just starting on the project with Melissa Somerville, the Bull Project. We did, upwards of, more than half a dozen heads, a full body kit, weapons, the full paint, and I actually have some of them here. But that kind of ate up a lot of my 2022. So. And of course, me having, my son with me and everything, I can't really be in the lab. This is the lab, by the way.
Nice.
So I really didn't get the opportunity to really create much. This is
oh, that's awesome.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Whew.
This is
here, let me blow you up.
That's I would call that kind of horny.
Well, it's
that's pretty awesome.
Ring kind of fill off, but yeah, this is one of the ogre scale projects we worked on. A couple more of them, but full range, kind of a Seventh Kingdom tribute.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, that kind of ate up most of 22. So now I'm in a creative space now where I feel like I'm almost back in my element. So, I've been kind of dabbling here and there, kind of building up the weapon inventory, taking it to the next level. So, of course, I'm self-taught, so I'm not a slow learner, but I tend to let trial and error be my teacher. So I've been kind of sharpening my skills a bit and getting a little better here and there. And the things that I have coming are a bit eccentric. Working on some siege weapons, in addition to, you know, regular weapons, some new heads, armor, and things like that. But I kind of want to add a little variety in the spirit of tabletop gaming, but on a mythic scale. So
Okay.
yeah, I want to get some catapults in there, some battering rams, you know, just kind of spicy, you know.
Knowing you, they're not going to be small.
No.
No, no, not at all, not at all. Carlo, what's up, man?
So as far as your sculpting, is it all digital like ZBrush, or do you do any like traditional sculpting?
So I actually started off doing traditional sculpting, but I ran into reproducibility issues. I would make something, but then it'd quite literally be one of a kind. It's kind of sad because you want to share that kind of stuff with your friends, and molding and casting can only go so far. So digital sculpting became my preferred method. Although every once in a while I will bust out the epoxy sculpt and try to mess with things here and there. But you know, my goal is to share everything I have, everything I make with you guys, and you know, so you guys can have some fun with it too.
That's awesome.
Community driven, 100%.
So where can people buy your work? I know I've seen some stuff on Legion Shop occasionally, but then do you also sell directly? Like where can people find your stuff?
Yeah, it's www.DTourCustoms.com, and the shop is still open. It's open 24/7, 365, updated periodically, and currently in the next few weeks you'll see an overhaul with the influx of all the new stuff I'm working on. So keep an eye out for that.
Nice.
It's good. What's up, bro?
I was just mentioning right before the show, I've been falling in love with this guy from Cosmic, and I am excited for what kind of fire you're going to bring for Cosmic.
Gosh,
I'm excited.
I've been thinking about Cosmic for a long time, and I can't wait to start dropping some stuff. You know, your illuminated rail guns and your illuminated shields and you know, you name it, man. I can't wait. And Cosmic is unique in a sense where you can do things like hoverboards, platforms, and you know, hover bikes and things like that, and you're not bound by your Balius or your Aethon. That was the only way to get around the Mythos unless you know how to fly. You got to get on the horse. But with Cosmic, you know, you have carte blanche and you can space sparkle gear. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely can do some cool stuff. I know you had one piece on Legion Shop that was like that wired. I can't remember what that weapon was called, but it was that wired piece. You know what I'm talking about?
Chainsword, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I think that would work well for Cosmic, like stuff like that too.
Yeah, you know. And I like to kind of, you know, push the envelope, use different materials and different, you know, methods of connecting everything. Like for armor, you know, I know, you know, Mythic standard is with the two pegs in the back. But for a lot of the things that I do, I use elastic strap to attach it to the torso, so you kind of get free range of motion, so you can you know, kind of do a bit more in terms of posing. So you know, I'm a bit unorthodox. It does take a little bit of extra work, but I think it's worth it. You know, just to kind of give you guys something different.
That's cool.
Yeah.
The for me, I think the best piece that came out from Four Horsemen last year, as far as like armor goes, is that Nate Barch, the pauldrons for an ogre, because we just don't have any of those out there. Now, obviously, the Sir Uksak figure is going to have some that are coming out, and you've got the Nate Barch kit. But have you messed around with anything with pauldrons for like the ogre size scale?
Well, can I be 100% honest with you?
Sure. I
didn't look for a peg hole for pauldrons for the ogres until I saw that. So it was announced and like, there's no holes on the ogres. What is going on? And I looked, I'm like, there's holes in the back of the ogre. Like, what is going on? And I just couldn't imagine why I would miss it. I don't know if maybe just because the harnesses were there, but it was like such a complete mind screw. Like but ever since then, I've been thinking about ogre pauldrons and how to, you know, finesse it and put it on. So some of what I'm working on now is actually for ogre scale.
That's awesome. Yeah, as soon as I saw those, that, you know, I got that Nate Barch kit in and I put it on, and I was like, man, this is awesome, but I need some variety. And you're the first person I thought of. I'm like, I bet Steph's going to put out something cool. So
I don't have a picture. Can I share something from Wolf King? Not to steal away from DTour,
Sure.
because Len had it displayed. Have you seen
the
ogres, the ogre stuff that Len's been working on, Curtis?
I did not.
There was
go ahead, Steph.
Dude, so I'm walking past the display, right? And something catches my eye. I look, I'm like, what is that? It's this massively armored ogre with a collection of dwarf heads just hanging, and the pauldrons were massive and ornate in detail, and the helmet looked like it was so intricate. It looked like Sauron's cousin. Like, it was just so awesome. It was so crazy to see it. But I think I was talking to Halcyon. He said it was like the Dwarf Slayer or something like that.
Yeah,
he was
he had a ring. He was holding a ring in one hand with like 3 dwarf heads strung through it, like impaled through the ring, like keys on a keychain. And then the pauldrons were asymmetrical. The one on the left had this giant spike or spikes coming out of it with multiple dwarf like heads that were like rotted into skulls on them. And then the other one, and then he had some sort of like wicked, like spiky hammer weapon in the the other hand. So
how has Len not shared this with me?
Well, he was debuting it at the show. I'm sure, I think he said it's coming soon, and he had another piece that was debuting. It was a female like succubus demoness head, got like the hair coming over one side with these like horns coming out and like scales or deformations on the side of the face. That was just kind of tucked up out of the way, so if you weren't looking for it.
I was shocked. I could not believe. I was sweating. I was sweating when I saw it. You guys are gonna love it. I'm
gonna have to yell at Len after this. He's supposed to share that stuff in our Wolf King chat.
Is that Doug? What's up, Doug?
Douglas.
Jetpacks. Nice.
Yeah, Douglas was saying he used the your chain whip for the his Belmont Castlevania tribute.
Ooh,
shout
that's
out
a good
to
idea.
Doug's been supporting me for a really, really long time. I remember when we had our first Toy Con during the pandemic. You know, everything was still shut down, but Joe Viteri kind of broke the mold and tried to re-engage everyone in a safe way and kind of prove that we can still enjoy ourselves, you know, while still observing, local rules and things and mandates. But Doug came out, drove all the way out, supported. He's like, "Hey man, what's going on?" You know how Doug is.
Doug's great.
Yeah, he's awesome. Shout out to him.
I always got, every time Doug comes up, I got to give him tribute for being the guy that brought those giant candy bars to LegionsCon that led to that epic moment with Eric Treadway's kids in the lobby. So, and Curtis, Carl's saying thanks for the feature. He's
he's tuned in. Cool.
A live reaction in show to getting the Shelve shout out there on the show.
We look forward to see what you're gonna bring, man.
Thanks, Joe. Absolutely.
So far, it's been fire.
And Patrick coming in, which each of those dwarf, I didn't get to look at it that close, but each dwarf head on that sculpt is from a Wolf King dwarf sculpt.
Yes. Yeah, I just messaged Len yelling at him. So
no.
Cool. All right. So what else? I mean, sounds like you've been pretty busy, Steph, with the new kid and work and collaborations and stuff. What else you got going on?
Yeah, man. It's just trying to reestablish my my presence at the con. So ZoloCon was the first of many this year. I wanted to do the next Toy Con. There's also Chris Con happening in Massachusetts, which is an incredible con. Again,
Danny's going to chime on that in any second now.
I know, right? Yeah, it's such a high quality con with such great people. It's such a good time. So I'm definitely doing that one. And of course, LegionsCon, PowerCon. I'm still on the fence about. It's an 8-hour drive for me, but I'll see how things work out. I might fly out there and go there with an empty suitcase and load up.
It's if you can come out for a couple days, just that whole LegionsCon atmosphere is great. It's a smaller dose because it's not all Legions, but man, it was great because the show ends at like 4 or something, so it's not like a late show.
Right.
So then everybody just like hangs out in the lobby or in the it's a really cool atmosphere there in Columbus.
Yeah, I kind of looked at it this year and I was like, I know I'm gonna try to make 2 cons, and it just kind of worked out timing wise where MuskeeCon and LegionsCon are pretty much like halfway across the year apart. So it just worked out to where those are the ones that I'm going to. If PowerCon was a little bit further away from LegionsCon, I think it's like 3.5 months or something like that. But if it was a little bit longer, I probably would have done that one as well. But yeah, it's just a little bit too close for me to take that much time off and, travel that far. So, and it looked like you guys had some good hanging out with folks. And I saw it was even Cookie's birthday this weekend. There's some celebrating Cookie's birthday.
Oddly enough, yeah. It was yesterday and today.
Wow.
And tomorrow, but it's also Chris Garrett. I'm not going to say his name right. Chris's birthday tomorrow. So everyone, I'm going to post it again. Go check out his Kickstarter for Biblical Adventures. Give him a great birthday surprise, and let's get that project back. Man, my voice just totally dropped out.
Yeah, and I've heard it said a couple times now. I know Jeremy mentioned it on his show that the soft goods, it sounds like the ones that we've seen so far don't really do it justice in the pictures, mostly because the figures that he's been showing, the prototypes, haven't been articulated, so you can't see like how the fabric falls. But that is all done by C. Jessam. So, I mean, we know C. Jessam's work. It's second to none. So, between that and the fact that you're getting it from the same factory that's making all the Mythic Legion stuff, I think, in terms of quality, you should expect that you're going to get, some pretty good stuff out of this. So, if it's your thing, go ahead and back it. I know I got an all-in for the first book that's open. Waiting to see what opens up for the second one. If it's not your thing, at least share it, because somebody else may be into it. So
I was waiting for this.
Yeah.
I will say there's a lot left to be revealed with that Kickstarter. There's a lot of great stuff that is still hidden. So definitely support it. It's such a great line. I myself, I did an all-in pledge. I'm actually gonna go back and see if I could score some more blanks, because $15 blanks, like what? It's great. I mean, load up as a customizer, I love it. They're about anywhere between the same size as maybe like a 2.0 body, maybe slightly shorter, but within that range. So for those looking to mix and match, they fit in great with Legends. You can get some great elf bodies out of them for Legions, and sky's the limit on that. But
and I know some folks have talked about doing like villagers for a while. That kind of stuff. Like those blanks would be perfect for that.
And
they come in $3. You can't beat that. Yeah, 3 complexions.
I love that
variety. That's the best.
So they also, I don't think they're for sale yet. I think it goes next week, where we've got the retailer wave. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Wednesday,
I was shocked. I was pleasantly surprised to see that we're getting a impromptu wave, but to show love to the retailers, which is great. And what stood out the most to me, aside from the awesome variant to the Headless Horseman, which I think is better than the first, but that's a different story. But the Golden Knight with the 2 heads and the extra limbs for $50. What? That is a steal. That is a bargain if I ever seen it.
Because it's like you're getting a Magnus basically without the Magnus head, but then you're also getting the set of black limbs that, like, it's just, they're so good for customizing, because you can leave the joints black and paint it whatever other color, and it's not going to pop. Exactly. So for customizers, those extra limbs are going to be awesome. And then to throw some love out there for the blue Hagnon, like,
dude, oh my God. Where's Cullen at?
So you got to say blue Hagnon 3 more times.
And, I was on Jeremy's show on Wednesday, and just somebody in the chat had asked about the color of the yellow on the Headless Horseman cloak. I'm sorry, not the yellow, the orange on the cloak, whether it matched Thygar or not. So Jeremy put it on a Thygar. I don't know if you saw it. It's like a perfect match. the orange on his cloak matched the Thygar pants. So if you want a cloaked Thygar that just kind of looks like a regal look, and it's pretty badass. I think that's what I'm going to be doing with mine. So, but yeah,
this website is not loading very well. So trying to be fancy.
Good. Yeah, it's a little choppy. But I mean, I kind of expected the Headless Horseman, especially after our talk with Cornboy, kind of expected the Headless Horseman, a retail version, as well as a Father Christmas. The other two I wasn't really expecting. They're kind of surprises.
Complete shock. I was beyond myself with excitement, and it made me realize we're getting a steady flow of figures, and the gaps in between aren't painful, like, let's say how they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
We got the game figures coming in All-Star 5.
No, don't say that.
Yeah, fingers crossed on the game figures.
Yeah.
Been hearing that for about 3 years now. So.
Yeah, but then Cosmic arrives, and not too long after that, the second wave of Cosmic, and I just can't imagine really investing in anything else except Legions, because it's becoming really, really consistent in terms of how rapid we're getting them. And the excitement of anticipating the next wave while we get the new figures. It's like, I'm eating right now, but I'm going to be hungry later. But you're showing me a menu. You're showing me the dinner menu while I'm eating lunch kind of deal, So it's such a great time. It's like the golden era of collecting, I'm telling you.
Well, and I would imagine that we're going to get another Cosmic Legion some point soon, just because we've got the ones were supposed to already be kind of on the way, but then they didn't make it the cut for Chinese New Year. And then the smaller wave is still supposed to deliver by the end of the year, as far as I can tell from looking at the estimate. So, everything that we've got out there for Cosmic right now, the first two waves are both supposed to deliver this year.
Yes.
So there's got to be something else on the horizon to look forward to. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another one of those soon. And I'm just wondering what that's going to bring.
Are we supposed to do
looking forward to that?
The next round of All-Star voting soon?
I asked Jeremy about that Wednesday night. He said there's no official time on when we do All-Star voting. But I know that from what they said at G-Con, that's supposed to be kind of a continuation from the Necronomicon. So I don't know what we're going to get from that wave, but it sounds like we're going to get some skeletons, or it could be some more of the Etheron, because
I'm down.
Because that's part of that wave too. So it could be some more knights. I really don't know. But yeah, we'll see. I liked how they did the All-Stars last year, to where we got a mix of old and new stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. So
yeah, I'm excited. There's so much good stuff coming from them, and oh, dang it. What was it? July? Like June or July, when they started announcing that the rollouts were going to be coming for the All-Stars 5, I think.
Yeah, they should be coming soon. So, and it's going to be All-Stars and then Cosmic pretty much back to back. So
I think this might be the quickest All-Star wave that's been delivered, if it comes within the next month or so.
4 was pretty quick. I think 4 was within 12 months.
4,
yeah, but this is because you're right, because we did the voting last year around the February or March timeframe, but we actually didn't purchase it till it was like June or July.
Yeah, it was really late.
Yeah, because we did the voting, and then it was like a long time before they started doing the results of that and stuff.
I think they revealed them over the month of July, and then when PowerCon was that first weekend in August, they had the PowerCon debuts there for that.
Yeah. So good stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, if you're just getting in, jump on the pre-orders, get on that pre-order train, because then this stuff just starts rolling in, and it's one of those things where when the box shows up and it's already paid for, it's like free. It's like, yeah.
Yes, you're right. 100%.
It's a gift from past you.
Yeah.
Right.
So think of your future selves and go order some Necronominus. Incidentally, Empire Toy Shop is closing pre-orders for Necronominus, I think tonight. So if you want to get some
there you go.
On www.empiretoyshop.com. Definitely go check that man out.
Very nice.
Empire's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say this.
They're the ones that do the mystery boxes, right?
Yeah, yep. They're pretty fun. I've done a few. I've gotten lucky.
Yeah, I've done a couple of those. Those are nice.
Len had some prototype heads and things out with a couple of his cosmic test shots at the booth.
Oh my! That's another thing I saw that was insane.
That his wife had painted a couple of them up, and they looked awesome. I guess he was kind of joking, he said, but she did them anyway, and they looked great.
Yeah.
Some like kind of fishy, alien, like they were really cool. I think people are going to have a lot of fun now that people are getting the test shots and the designers are starting to play with the parts and see the scales and stuff. I think it's going to be.
That's what I loved and why I got so many of this guy, because I got a 12-pack of this guy plus the all-in, the Sentry. And I'm not sure if you guys saw, but like on the Wolf Den, I just took the that body and just popped a bunch of the Wolf King heads that we currently have. And these aren't even ones that we've made for Cosmic. They're just mythic ones. But there's a lot of them that work really well. Like there's a lot of just regular mythic heads that you pop them on there, you're like, damn, that looks pretty good. So, this body, the Sentry body, I think is a great Space Marine one. The Novian Lean that's coming out from the second Cosmic Wave, that's another good Space Marine body. So, yeah, good stuff.
All of the God's Fire stuff will fit perfectly on either the Oleg Thargar book or just your science officer. Like you can't lose. It looks really, really good.
Space Templars.
Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to share this.
Share it, do it.
But I'm going to anyway. There's been a little talk in the Wolf King chat where Emil may be doing some more God's Fire, like the original God's Fire, but with new facial expressions or like younger versions, things like that. So I would like to see a couple new takes on like the Redeemer, the Believer, the Judge. So we'll see. I haven't seen any finished prototypes, but I know there's some talk right now. So I think that would be really cool.
I thought he was Swedish.
Yes, he is.
Sorry.
Someone threw a Redeemer head on a Baron Vologard too at the show. I saw it in the Wolf King display.
Yeah.
I ended up buying 2 Baron Vologards because I saw that.
Nice.
I have 2 of the heads, so I'm like, I need it, and I have to get some more Legions now. Thanks, Len.
That's cool.
Did you see Joe Vazapolo's the red and black knight on the Rhaegor body?
Oh yes.
Oh man, that it looked like he just used like that shiny, glossy black and red, and he did that like effect where it looked like the blade was like molten steel, like a couple.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was
like blended the colors.
Yeah, so it's like black or really, really dark at the base, and then just it quickly got red, and it gets bright red at the end.
That's
like
awesome.
the red and the black, and I think he had like silver highlights on it, but like it was almost like this enamel, like really shiny. It just looked. It was there, and Patrick stuff, and everybo's. Nate Armstrong had his. Sorry, I know we're going completely off the rails here. Sorry.
That's fine. Hey, let's geek out.
he had his Warriors of Taupu or Laupu, the Winnie the Pooh inspired. He had like the whole gang there.
And the Alice in Wonderland setup.
He had the Alice, and I think someone bought all of his Alice in Wonderland stuff.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Wow, I can't even imagine what that centipede went for because that was a lot of.
It was a set.
Parts.
I think he sold it all.
Oh man!
I think someone bought the whole Alice set as a whole.
Oh god,
that's crazy.
So,
because he had to use a bunch of torsos, a bunch of arms, a bunch of legs for that. So that's a lot of figures that went into that on top of the painting.
Right.
But I love that Cheshire Cat that he did because like a lot of people haven't noticed or I haven't really mentioned it, but he took a horsetail and plugged it into the back of that figure and it looks awesome. Like
and it
looks like it belongs there.
Yeah, he was twirling around and showing it to people. So yeah,
it's cool. So Steph, tell us about your Mythic journey. What brought you into this line? What got you into, sculpting for it and making awesome things for all these folks?
So way back when the first Kickstarter happened, I was aware of it, and I remember thinking to myself, this line is incredible. But me, being broke, I looked at the price of the figures. I'm like, ooh. At the time, I was big into Marvel Legends, which were going for $20 and much cheaper, and I was finding outstanding lots on eBay. So that was kind of where my price point is. So I was that guy that didn't want to spend, X amount of dollars on one or two figures. And it's like, man, I got this awesome figure, but I have nothing to display it with. So I passed on the first one. Fast forward, I'm browsing on eBay, and this is when Sir Ignatius had hit the All-Star wave, and people were just kind of dumping them on eBay. And I bought Sir Ignatius for $50, and
nice.
That was my very first Legion. So I get the figure. I'm like, what have I done? I've made a huge mistake by not investing in this line. So at the time, Coliseum was the next up, and I went all in on Coliseum. I went crazy. Black Knights, Halmir Golden Tooth, Rhaegar, Romulus, Lottie Dottie, everybody. Yeah, I bought them. But I was still a knucklehead. I still didn't appreciate the line as much as I do now. So I ended up selling Rhaegar and Romulus because they weren't wearing pants. So and stupid me now. Rhaegar is like one of the grails. So I was like, this is dummy. But since then, it's just been I love my Legions, been stacking them up, and through my customizing journey, I didn't want to ruin the Legions that I had, for fear they're expensive, these are premium figures. I'm gonna go destroy some Marvel Legends instead. But as time progressed and I got more Legions, and I started customizing them, and just kind of making dioramas and displays, and fast forward to my first Toy Con, when I was quite literally right next to the Horseman. It was my table, Trevor's table, and then the Horseman. At the time, Trevor and I both collected Legions, but we weren't really intermingled with the Horseman. I was like, wow, we're next to the Horseman. This is great. So we're mixing it up, and I remember I got a Balaam in the Advent of Decay wave, and the arm was busted. It just would not go in the socket. It was kind of just, defective. And I remember feeling like, I paid so much for these Legions and they're breaking on me. I'm so disheartened. So I had emailed, customer service, and no response. And I go to the show, and I asked, hey, is there another way to kind of, before I could finish my sentence, Eric Treadaway, out of nowhere, whips out a Balaam, just out of thin air. And he says, hey, man, don't worry about it. And he hands it to me, and my eyes watered, and I turned away because I felt so special. I'm like, these guys are not what I would imagine a successful toy company would be, because they're human, they're decent, care about their fans and customers. And that moment, solidified me as a top tier Legions fan, as far as how devoted I was to really taking care of the figures and collect them, and really making it the foundation of the things that I want to create. Big medieval genre fan, and that's kind of where I gravitate toward. And it just feels that need for me. And I just since then just started shifting gears and really focusing on Legions, and kind of reinstating that passion for collecting. Because Marvel Legends, I'll be honest with you, the love for them was fleeting. The saturation, the characters, I grew up on the X-Men, but Legions really caters to your imagination. Of course there's the lore, but your own personal ideologies and your interests, they manifest in so many different ways with Legions. It's magical. I've never seen or experienced anything like that. So that's kind of what's propelled me to where I am now. Let's make some stuff. And on top of that, meeting everyone. So that same show where he gave me the Balaam, that was the first LegionsCon. I remember Jeremy walking up to me, looking at my table, like, "Oh man, it's pretty cool, And he's like, I'm like, yeah, thanks. And he's like, yeah, I customize. I'm like, yeah, you're Mythic Customs. He's like, Yeah, and that was my first, like, face-to-face interaction with Jeremy, and you know everyone was there. Shelve Gravy had that massive dial that we had, and it was just in this little itty bitty room in Jersey, and that was like the genesis of where we are now. So that's kind of snowballed into a lot of the community being heavily integrated, but also helping the artists grow at the same time. It's like this positive linear correlation. The more positive and strong the community becomes, the better the artistry is. The more creativity is funneled into the pot, and everybody's eating. Everybody's eating. So definitely a good feeling. But that's where I'm at, and I can't think of a better place to be honest.
Well, and I know a lot of credit goes to Walter for putting together the Cabal, because it is such a great place for folks to not only share the love for the line, but also share their artistry and that kind of stuff. But really, it starts with the Four Horsemen. Like, the fact that they're a company that not only allows some of this customizing and 3D part companies to do what they do, but actually encourage it. Like, like you said, it is kind of this symbiotic relationship. They realize that, hey, if somebody finds a DTour weapon that they love and they want to use with a figure, they still got to buy a figure to put it with. If somebody finds a Wolf King head that they love, they still got to buy a figure to put that head on. So you can work together. Whereas I think there's a lot of other companies that would, whether it's a cease and desist letter or whatever, like they would, you're not making money off of our product.
Right.
But I think, the Four Horsemen not only allowed this, but encouraged and grown this community of artistry. And it's overwhelming at times how loving the environment is. You go to LegionsCon, or one of these other shows that's kind of a mini version of LegionsCon at this point, and it's just, everybody's awesome. Like, there's so many great people in the room. It's just a great place to be, for sure.
Agreed.
And the cool thing, agreeing with everything both of you guys are saying, but like the Horsemen, they're there at these shows in person. So like the heads of the company, the guys that are sculpting this, the guys that are paying their employees and making sure all this is stuff in out there, and Jeremy with the maintaining the site and like advertising and marketing and all that stuff, like they're all there at the table the whole time. If there's a line at their table, they're there busting their butts, teaching the people about the line, and all this stuff. And the fact that, like you said, with Wolf King right next to him today, and the whole event of LegionsCon being so embracing, and yeah, it's LegionsCon, it's for the Mythic and will be for the Cosmic Legions, and it's about the Four Horsemen stuff, but that 90-something% of that room is people making art based around their stuff, and they're totally supportive of it. As long, they have, I think, very relaxed guidelines. Like, they're not super strict. You can look those up, but yeah, I think it's just, and they lead by example, because they're there. Their wives and their kids are there with them. Like, went out to dinner with some of them, and like Eric Treadway and his kids are sitting at the same table. So it's just cool, like sitting there with them. And they're just people. They're not these like lofty imaginations of, like, they're just, yeah, we're just gonna have some, edamame or whatever it was at the hibachi place, and it's just so cool.
Well, and they've become a big draw for a lot of these toy shows too, because I don't know a lot of folks that are traveling to see a NECA display or traveling to see what Hasbro is bringing to a toy, convention. But people are traveling to ZoloCon. People are traveling to PowerCon to see the Horsemen. People are going to be coming up to Michigan in MesquiCon, which is relatively a smaller show compared to others that are, throughout the year, because they know Four Horsemen are going to be there. So it's become this, this destination thing where when they're there, people are going to show. It's kind of one of those build it and they will come kind of things.
Yeah.
And it's good for everybody else in that room, because if you're, one of these third-party vendors or whatever, and people are in the door to see the Horsemen, well, when they're done, they're not just going to turn around and walk out. Like, they're going to walk around and look at the other tables, and that helps everybody, so Yeah, really cool stuff.
Thank you. Oh.
Yeah.
So
Danny bringing the feels.
Love Danny to death, man. I swear, man. Jeez.
So Steph, we heard about your how you got into Mythics. You know, tell us about the creating all these awesome things that you've come up with. Like, are they straight from your head? Are you doing research on like historical weapons and armor and stuff like that? Like, how are you coming up with this fire that you're putting out there on a regular basis?
Oh man, I'm blushing over here. You call the fire. But normally I freestyle. I just completely just start going and start putting elements together. But a lot of the stuff that I did for Legion Shop, I did adopt historical references for the jousting lance that I did when Legion Shop first opened. But that was probably the only time I kind of just made sure I was historically accurate with the scale and the topper. But other than that, I'm driven. My designs are driven by villain aesthetics. In every genre of narration I've seen, of stories, cartoons, pretty much everything we follow, the villain always looks way better than the hero. Look at Transformers, for instance, right? Autobots are like, beetles and ambulances and everyday domestic vehicles. Decepticons are like jet fighters and all sorts of like cool equipment. And I feel like the villains always have this edgy aesthetic to them that kind of makes them very appealing to look at. When a villain kind of comes onto the scene or any story arc you read, all eyes on the villain. You're not looking at the hero. Of course, the hero resolves the issues, but the villain is the focal point. So I like a lot of like Dark Souls type themed designs, things like that. And I'll kind of look at things in passing and it'll kind of stick to my head, but it would kind of warp itself. My memories fading in my my age at this point. But, I just like to freestyle and see what works. I'm a big fan of symmetry, but asymmetrical works in certain instances. But for the most part, I like symmetry. Very acute angles, things of that nature. So a lot of my work you'll see is very pointy. It hurts to touch sometimes, but that's a lot of my drive in terms of design.
But it also means they hurt. It hurts when they use it against somebody.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
If it hurts you in a printed form, imagine if that was a real weapon. Hacking at your hero.
Right.
And that's totally like the villains are the measuring rod that the heroes are scaled against.
Yes.
So if your villain if it's just now, unless you're playing for the subverting expectations and the villain's really just like the Weasley guy pulling the strings in the background, all right, but you can't do that with every villain, especially if it's something like this. I mean, just think Darth Vader walking out of that hallway in the beginning of the original Star Wars movie, just that black almost pyramid triangle shape of his helmet and the cape coming down. That was an end, like all black and like this otherwise white beige hallway and all the white stormtroopers. Like, yeah, he's bad.
All those clean edges, very sharp, very, very, the surfaces were polished and finished. And you look at the Jedi, they're like, rags in robes and cloth, and they look damp and smelly. But, this Darth Vader guy, he's the big baddie, and he's just state of the art, clean cut, and that's like, oh man, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Speaking of Star Wars, that's what I'm looking for from you, Steph. I'm looking for laser weapons, whether it's laser swords, laser guns, like any kind of laser things. That's what I want.
Oh, it's coming. I love to print translucent.
I want to see that club, that giant ogre club in a sci-fi form.
Yes. Well, some sort of truncated, extending beating stick.
Yeah.
It's
like a reverse like drill bit.
Yeah, right.
You hold it at the bottom of it.
Well, imagine like Kragnar with his 4 arms having like these like laser sabers, like 4 of them just swinging at you, kind of like who is the Grievous? Yeah.
You're giving me so many good ideas.
And with the ports on the arms, you can even just have it where they're like,
yes,
coming out of the arm and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what was it? The second Cosmic, the deluxe builder. I can't remember what the guy's name is. The blue guy, kind of looks like Apocalypse. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the ogre,
the
cyborg,
yeah.
Yeah, and he's got that shield that like just pops onto the port of the arm. Like that's that's what we need. We need some pop-on shields and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm gonna make that this week. I'm gonna make some energy shields because now I'm excited. Now I'm pumped up.
There you go. Well, and I said this about 3 or 4 weeks ago on this show, whereas like, I started seeing the test shots and I got one in my hand, and it's like I started getting more excited for Cosmic than for Mythic. And I never thought I'd say that because I've always been like a sword and sorcery guy. But man, I'm just getting super stoked about this stuff. Man. So
Kurt, I held this thing in my hand. I held Slog. I held Oleg. Thygar. I held. Oh my gosh, I'm just.
That Slog is one I want to hold because like people talk about like I think on Dorklayer's video he said it's like 2.5 pounds. He said this thing is just massive.
Yeah, it's not like the trolls that are hollow.
Right?
Yeah,
it's physically smaller than a troll, but it's like just dense,
meaty. I love
it. Yeah.
Simone telling me I had a small flex talking about going to dinner, but my real flex from the weekend, in my opinion, was holding the painted shot of the Sphexian. Jeremy or someone had that open, and he's like, "Hey, you want to hold this before I slide this back in here?" I was like, "Yeah." I mean, no, I don't want to break it. He's like, "Go ahead." So I took it, and just the wings, the way seeing how like each wing is 2 pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't articulate themselves, but they'll pivot together, right? But when you close them on the back, you've seen it in some of the shots and stuff people have done. But it was the fully translucent painted details and just that iridescent color shift on it was the Sphexian trooper. It wasn't the block commander.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And but just the way the wings come together in the back looks just like, a locust or a beetle, like closing the wings together. It's like, yeah, these guys are crashing on Mythos in my world because I'm not going. I don't think I'm going all in on the Cosmic. They're awesome. Wish I could, but they're going to be chasing down some villains, escapees, Con Air style, and the Sphexians are going to be the ones invading Mythos to come after them.
Well, and I know we had seen some of like the empty packaging, but this weekend we got our first view of like the figures in the packaging, and man, they look like I'm not an inbox collector, but they look pretty cool.
We will become Cosmic. Trust me.
Yeah. And Jeremy, I think he was just saying this out in the open, so I don't think I'm sharing anything. It might not happen, but I think they were talking about wanting to do this as the line progresses, they're just going to keep scaling down the 12 back card to where it's just like this connect the dots checklist on the back of.
I think I heard them say something that like once they change like books, like go from book 1 to book 2 or something, then it may like start over as far as the back of the card, but I don't know if that's positive or not. So, but yeah, good stuff. So, Steph, what other kind of things are you into? Like what growing up, like what was your jam as a kid?
Well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from Playmates outside with the friends, chucking them across the park and kind of swapping them and that was the bee's knees. You got your toys and you can damn well be sure that your friend has a different set. You mix and match, trade, and I would say a lot of what we do now is very reminiscent of those days where we played as kids and where money wasn't an issue for us. We just had the toys, we had the time, and we just had the time of our lives. And I think essentially we're recreating that now. Granted, the money part is a bit difficult, but we find a way. But we come together at these shows and we mix it up and we share ideas. I have fond memories of just getting all like my old, 5-point Toy Biz action figures, the Marvel figures, and my Ninja Turtles, and I'd get like a shoebox, poke 4 pencils and get some rubber bands and make like a wrestling ring out of it, and just sling. And Sling and Fight, and it's just
you talking about like the Secret Wars figures and those.
Yeah. Those are great. Those are great.
Those are awesome with their little holographic shields that you would turn and yeah, those are cool.
Golden age, man. But yeah, as a kid, that was my jam. And when I became a teenager, toys were like toys. I'm like, no. You want to be the cool guy. You kind of leave it behind for a while, but when you become an adult, that's when you kind of reflect and think about the things that you love, think about what's important. And toys were always important because these are your conduits for your imagination to manifest into something real and enjoyable. And that's the best feeling in the world, which is why so many of us enjoy it. I would say the average age of folks in our community is well above 40. And there's a reason behind that, because our community's generation are, combined, love of these figures. We're the last generation that grew up without the internet. So it's a different vibe. We had more outlets in terms of imagination and creativity, where now it's kind of just fed into us via the internet. But that's what makes this so special. We're the last vestige of a bygone age, and it's such a great feeling to be a part of.
Yeah, I think it's even, in my opinion, it's even pre-internet. I think video games really was that transition, like where you saw, if you have, folks in their, mid 50s or above, when they were actual kids, they didn't have a whole lot. I mean, there wasn't a lot of good stuff out there to play with. Our generation kind of had that from, late 70s, early 80s. We had a lot of great toys and toy lines that were really put out there for us, and that was what we did. And then, once Nintendo came out, and then it kind of, from Nintendo went into PlayStation and all this and that, and it seemed like a lot of kids transitioned from playing with toys to playing video games, and then it went to the internet. And nowadays, you really don't find kids playing with toys too often. So I think it's kind of a dying thing, which makes me sad. But adult toy collecting has been very popular because now all these folks have some expendable income, and they can spend it on the stuff that they want. So
Absolutely.
So it's great for us. I just, I don't know what the next generation is going to do. Like, I look at my kids and I'm like, is there anything when they get older that they're going to feel nostalgic about? And I don't know that there is anything. I don't know.
They're just going to stare at walls all day.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to watch old, Steven Universe videos or something. I don't know.
Where gems were great.
Right.
Obviously, I don't have any kids, so I'm not super worried about what my next generation is going to be doing. But I mean, it's like there's always going to be. I mean, they found toys going back to prehistoric times. They found it was in South America or in Egypt or somewhere. Or they found the knight with the removable helmet or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was a carving or a stone piece or something. It's just toys have been around, and maybe it wasn't a toy. Maybe it was something more serious. We're just kind of guessing, as far as some of that history stuff goes, but it'll just be different, and our way of collecting and our way of doing stuff might fade, or a lot of these guys are doing this stuff with their spouses or whichever way whoever got into it.
Mm-hmm.
Dave and Stephanie Orkin were there today, and they're both getting into this stuff, and Paul and Jamie Sutt, and just different, Curtis, you and your wife, you do stuff together.
Yeah,
it's just cool how this, and some people are doing it with their kids, and I'm just drawing a blank. Who was we were talking to about? I don't remember. There's too much overload from this weekend, and it wasn't even LegionsCon. But
I think right now we're kind of in a golden age. So I just enjoy the now. Enjoy the now.
Yep.
So, but yeah, good stuff. I'm excited for what's to come. Yeah.
Like NFTs have flash.
That's true.
I was gonna say they'll have their like internal hollow projector, like, oh man, these vines kept me alive when I was 12.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, which is fine. If that's their thing, that's their thing.
So what else you got going on, Steph? You watching anything right now? TV, movies, anything that's
big into anime, so I've been trying to catch up on some shows. There's this one show in particular, Vinland Saga. If you guys got Netflix, it's running on Netflix. Heavily themed Viking series. I think even a non-anime lover will appreciate. So definitely.
Nice. What's it called again?
Vinland Saga.
I think you're the second. I know you're at least the second person that's recommended to me. I feel like someone else mentioned it on here, Curtis, and I forgot to watch it. But
it's very good. It captures the political storyline of a lot of those Viking stories from that era, but it also gives you a lot of great brutal action scenes. A good watch, definitely a good watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been getting heavily into Vikings lately. Watched, the 2 seasons of Valhalla. Went back and watched all the seasons of the first Viking series.
What did you think about the second season of Valhalla, man? Because I loved the first season because I was so excited to see that there was another installment. But I feel like the second season was a bit lackluster.
I didn't think it was as good, but I still thought it was pretty good. I loved Valhalla when I watched the first 2 seasons. I saw that before I saw the original series. I never saw the original Vikings. So then I went back and watched that, and I love that even more. So now I'm kind of sad that one's over, because I kind of binge watched that whole thing. But yeah, it was really good. Now I'm watching Last Kingdom. That's
Destiny is old. Such a great show, man.
Last Kingdom. I'm not getting into
cool.
Last Kingdom as much. I'm like, I think I'm in season 2. Maybe it gets, I don't know. It's not good, pulling me in as much as Vikings did, but.
Oh, dude, it gets good. I'll be honest with you. I like Last Kingdom slightly better than Vikings, only because the last season of Vikings kind of just threw me off.
Yeah.
Historically, I knew it was bound to happen, but
once they started killing everybody off on the last season of Vikings, it's like, man, is there going to be anybody left?
Yeah, exactly. So I highly recommend Last Kingdom as well. That series ended superbly. I think there's a movie coming out too, but that series is really, really good. Last Kingdom, get your Viking fix. It's really good. Really.
And then what was the one? What was the one with the Templars? Oh, Nightfall. Have you seen that?
Nightfall was great. I'm
Nightfall.
waiting for another season, but I don't know what's happening.
I don't think they're going to do one. I wish they would, but
that's a shame. It's a good show.
Yeah, I like that. Did you watch that, Jesse?
I did not. I I heard someone talk about it, and I completely forgot it existed until you just mentioned it again.
I'll watch it again if you want, man.
Yeah, there's only 2 seasons, so it's kind of sucks that you get into it and then it's like that's it. But the 2 seasons they have is pretty damn good.
Cool.
Yeah, especially if you're a Mythic fan, because it's all Templars. So
I had my Templar in my hand as I watched it. That's how good it was. Such a good show.
I'm super into Vox Machina and the Critical Role stuff right now. I love the anime, and I'm going listening to the podcast version of the gameplay, like the original show now. So I'm really getting into that. I think that's going to be my goal for LegionsCon, besides my Dio that I'm hopefully going to make, is have the customs of the whole Vox Machina crew at the table.
I highly recommend that show also. Vox Machina is intense, and I love it. It's so engaging.
I
gotta give it another whirl.
I'll be watching Mando at like 6 a.m. with my mom this Wednesday. We watched the. She's got to get her baby Grogu fix in, so I call her up and we'll watch those. So, really looking forward to that.
I'm hoping for a little less Grogu this season, but we'll see.
Well, I got her one of the plushies with the plastic heads.
Yeah.
For Christmas a couple years ago, and so she's like, I'm sitting here with my baby Grogu, like whenever we watch shows together. So
yeah, for me, it's one of those where I know they've sold a lot of Grogu merchandise, and so it's like, you know, they're not going to like write it off anytime soon. But I also kind of feel like I loved Thor Ragnarok, and I thought it was a good mix of action and humor and everything. And then I feel like they were like, well, you know, people really like the humor in this. Let's do Thor: Love and Thunder and make it all humor. And it was just, yeah, it was just too much. And I'm just hoping they don't do the same thing with Grogu, where it's like, oh, people love this little guy. Let's just throw him in every single scene. No, don't do that.
I mean, he did say, I saw a clip where someone asked Pedro what to expect, and he was like, more Mandalorians. So if there's more Mandalorians, they're probably not saying that there won't be a lot of Grogu, but
yeah.
If they throw some Mando armor on Grogu, okay, give me some more Grogu. Otherwise, let's give Ginger and some love here.
Yeah, I mean, it is the Mandalorian,
right?
No. Speaking of Pedro, you guys been watching Last of Us?
Oh my god, another great show! Like, okay, so,
yeah.
Full disclosure, I didn't play the video game, but
I didn't either.
But I gotta say, if the critical acclaim that it's getting is that good compared to the game's cutscenes, I mean, you know, bravo, outstanding. Pedro Pascal can't lose. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think I'm one episode behind, and then there's another one that came out today, right?
It was on when I think it comes out at 9.
Gotcha. So
same time as us.
Yeah, so I haven't seen last week's or this week's yet, but so far I think it's really good.
What's up, Kev?
I like that they did a little bit more explaining of what's going on, like what the situation is behind the apocalypse, so that you kind of know more going in than, like, let's say Walking Dead, where
after all those seasons we still don't know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Walking Dead, but yeah, you know, you got like whatever 11 seasons in, you still don't know what happened. So I like that they explained that a little bit more, and the characters so far have been good. And I like that each episode is really meaty. Like, it's, you know, it's not like a quick, it's, you know,
right.
There's a lot to each episode. So
very substantial.
Yeah.
I think you'll really dig last week's episode, Curtis.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not as a favorite, but I think there's some really great stuff in that episode.
Yeah.
I think I might have ruined it for myself. Me not playing the video game. Last week's episode was so good. I got weak, and I looked online to see what was going to happen.
Oops.
And I regret reading what I read. I'm like, man, I'm still going to watch it and enjoy it, but
yeah.
Oh man, you are in for a treat.
That's cool.
No, Danny, no. You're drinking too much mayo. I'm absolutely calling that out.
What about did you see Ant-Man stuff?
Not yet. I'm actually eager to see that because from what I understand, it sets the stage for the next big bad and the next big arc in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Jonathan Majors, he's one of those actors that can't miss. You know, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, I think is great, but I see a lot of folks bashing the movie, but I'm like, you know, don't go in expecting anything and just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
And just take the story for whatever comic accuracy it does have and just enjoy it, you know?
I will say, without spoiling the movie, that I think Jonathan Majors was fantastic. I think the way that they did the visuals of the way that the comic look of Kang the Conqueror was really good. Like, they had a good mix of being comic accurate without looking goofy.
Right.
And I thought the movie was, in my opinion, pretty good. I thought it was better than anything in Phase 4, with the exception of maybe Spider-Man and maybe Wakanda Forever. Those two were pretty good. But other than that, I think it was better than all the other ones in Phase 4. So yeah, I really liked it. I think you'll enjoy it for sure. So, and it does. I feel like it does a good job of setting up the rest of Phase 5. So we'll see how that goes. But
I'm not usually a villain guy, but like we were talking, you got to have a good villain to make the hero worthwhile. And as I think having Kang be the guy that Ant-Man has to go up, and Wasp, and you know, the whole family. I think that's the fact that he's the guy that goes up against someone who's probably going to be as, if not more, formidable, they're saying, than Thanos. That's a pretty big gun to put, no pun intended, your smallest hero against, you know?
Zing!
Nice.
But yeah, Jonathan Majors, like, I started all that to say, like, I the villains are good. I enjoy them and how they play with the heroes, but like, man, the only other two villains that I felt that strongly connected to were Killmonger and Namor.
Yes.
Just I feel like there's such like an not even an epithet, but there's something like they believe what they're doing is the right thing.
Extremely
And it's
passive.
not just villainy. I'm not doing this because I'm the mustache twirling villain, or like exactly. But it's great.
I like Christopher Cross.
We'll back up a little bit to Last of Us. Vonnie Rotten was saying he hasn't started. I think Last of Us, but he's hesitating because I can't handle another Walking Dead type show. Any thoughts?
Do it.
It's different.
I don't think it's like Walking Dead, in my opinion. Like, it is an apocalyptic type show. It's a post-apocalyptic show, but it's not what you would consider like traditional zombies or anything like that.
It's very scientifically accurate. That's one thing.
Yeah,
do a great job of character building, which a lot of these zombie shows don't do. They focus on the blood, the gore, the catastrophic state of things, but this actually gives you a real opportunity to dive into these characters and see what makes them, what breaks them, what the sense of urgency and what little hope humanity has left is in these characters in the show, and you see it and you feel it. You feel like you're there, and you look out your window every so often, and you check the cabinet to make sure you don't have anything with mushrooms or any of the fungus, because that's how real it feels, because these characters feel real. So I highly recommend the show. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
I get that feeling though, because it's kind of like it is one of those where you kind of feel like, oh man, like there's not much hope. Like, all hope is lost, and it can kind of drag you down a little bit emotionally. But I think as you go through the show, you find out that there's still something worth fighting for. And then, when you're done with the show, when the episode's over, then you look at your life that you have and you go, man, my life's pretty good. The fact that I'm not having to worry about those things is great. But yeah, it's a very emotional show. I will say that.
Yeah. I love that. Like, I like the Walking Dead. I came into it late, but I followed it up through the end. It has its dragging, long, slow parts, stuff that like, I think shows are learning, like, we don't need to stretch this out for 15 years longer than it needs to be just because it makes money.
Exactly.
We got to focus on this. If it does well, maybe we can do something else to spin it off in that world. And I'm fine with that. But it feels like because there's a game that so many people know, and I've never played it either, but they know, and there's some things that match up almost beat for beat dialogue, the way their rhythms are to the gameplay. But they're doing things different enough that like are putting that emotion into it. And Joel, like, he flat out says, I'm not a good guy in the first episode, I think, right? Doesn't he say something to that effect? Like, I've done bad things, or I'm not a good person.
Yeah, I think it's in the second episode, but yeah, pretty early on.
But yeah, it's just like, he's not the local small town sheriff that's just trying to get to his family and do the whatever Walking Dead stuff. Like, those are great heroes, but I like that because of this journey with this girl and the trauma from his past with his daughter, it's just really interesting. Like, how, again, I'm not a parent, so I don't feel that, but like that show, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, because they portray it so well in the show.
I felt it, man.
That I can empathize with that.
I think like the only show that I've I won't say the only one, but a couple shows that I felt very strongly about over the past few years is this and The Witcher, which both came from video games. And I never played either of the two video games, but I love The Witcher. That's probably my favorite show on TV. And then this is really good as well. And I think it kind of goes to show like how good the writers are that make these video games. Like they're pretty top notch. It's not like, the stuff that we used to play back in the 80s. Like there's a lot of thought going into the storylines on these video games.
You better back off a Pitfall right now.
So it's in a world, as the movie guy goes, in a world where we have so many retreads and movies that they just kind of recycle and put out a different way and redo it, and it's the same ideas over and over again. To have some new properties like this, I think has been pretty cool. And for folks like us that haven't played the video game, experiencing for the first time is cool. But I hear from folks that have played the video game that it's just as cool for them because now they're seeing this stuff on the, come to life on TV. So,
absolutely. And they have this thing where it's like the curse of the video games, where any adaptation of a video game comes out horrible. But I mean, we're proven time and time again with these recent releases that that's not the case. Witcher, great example, Kurt. I mean, I don't know if it's because I love Witcher or because I love Henry Cavill, but whatever it is, it's damn good, man. And
it hits the right notes.
Yeah, he's not returning, and just the reason for him not returning also because they're not going to be sticking to the source material.
Mm-hmm.
The actors themselves have a lot of say in what goes into the series, and I respect Henry for being that voice and keeping things pure.
Yeah, well, he's like the king of the nerds. Like he's you know what I'm saying. Like the guy plays D&D, he plays Warhammer, he plays World of Warcraft. He almost missed the call, that he was becoming Superman because he was in the middle of a raid on World of Warcraft. This guy, he's our kind of guy. Like you look at him and you go, okay, this isn't a nerdy,
send him some legions. But, we should send him like an entire wave.
I've said that for years, man. If somebody can get him into legions.
Someone keeps saying that they're trying. Someone has a connection to him in the Cabal somehow. I don't know how strong that connection is, but we talked about that once, and someone commented, or maybe it was someone else's show, that like I'm trying.
Yeah.
LegionsCon 10. I want to see Henry Cavill pull up to the Horseman table and hang out with us, man.
Henry Cavill as Sir Gideon.
Yes.
In the Mythic Legions.
There you go.
Amazon show.
Yeah. Well, that's I've never played Warhammer, and I didn't know anything about it. I did just recently watch like a 30-minute video kind of explaining like all the different races and stuff, which sounds like it's so vast that there's a lot of source material. But the fact that he's kind of show running that thing that they're going to do with Warhammer, and he's the one that's really putting it all together, makes me pretty excited to see what they come up with on that, because anything that he's that passionate about, I'm sure is going to be really good. So
yeah, he must be protected at all costs. I love that guy.
Yeah. Have you guys you ever seen Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that movie. It's so good.
It's the 60s spy movie with him and
Armie Hammer.
Yeah.
It's so damn good. If you haven't seen that, Steph, highly recommend it.
Like you've got an American playing a Russian, you've got a Brit playing an American, and then you've got was it Alicia Vikander playing like the girl
she's like an Italian spy or something.
Yeah, like breaking her out of East Germany. It's such a fun movie though.
Yeah.
And his bad guy in Mission Impossible, like that gun cock with his and he's got a mustache, so there you go. You got Gideon right there.
That bathroom scene where they get into the Rumble, that was great. That was really good.
Yeah.
Question for you. Steph, do you ever I came across a friend hooked me up with this channel on YouTube called Corridor Crew. They do like VFX artist and stuntmen react videos where they'll like they are VFX guys and they have friends that are stunt guys, so they'll come in and they'll be like, well, here's some breakdowns in these scenes. They've gotten guys from Weta. I think they even have gotten who's the Seth Rogen like has come on with them, but they'll watch like fight scenes and they get guys like Guy. I can't remember his name. Guy. He's the stunt double for Black Panther. He does like the action scenes when he has the helmet on and all that stuff. Like he's come on and they do these breakdowns. They do a breakdown of that bathroom fight scene and they're like, oh yeah, there's the pad on the floor. You can see that, or the tiles over there. That's a rubber mat, but you watch it in the movie, you don't notice it. If it'll spoil the mystery. If you don't want to do that, don't watch it. But that Corridor Crew has a lot of awesome breakdown stuff on that.
I gotta check that out, man.
VFX and stunt stuff. It's a great series of stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch that. That would ruin the magic. Simon says that Man from U.N.C.L.E. is actually on HBO Max right now. So,
dude, thanks, bro.
Yeah, check it out.
As soon as I finish the latest episode of Last of Us, I'm gonna do what Simone says and check out that movie. That's gonna be great.
There you go.
Yeah, it's fun because it's 60s, so it's got that whole James Bond kind of swag, and the two guys are trying to constantly one-up each other through the whole movie.
Cavill is like the coolest guy ever in that movie. Like
he's kind of a douchebag, though. It's great.
Oh, he is, but it's like James Bond coolness times 10. Like he's just so suave. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the water. Yeah, check out Quarter. I'll send you the link to that if I can find that bathroom fight.
Oh, hell yeah, Send it.
It's really cool.
They were talking about for years that they were going to do a sequel to that Man from U.N.C.L.E., but then, Armie Hammer had that whole weird thing that went down with him. Yeah. So, yeah.
Hello,
when you're talking about eating your girlfriend, that's yeah. So, all right.
Of course, Danny knows Corridor Crew.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so does Vonnie Rotten. That's cool. So you said turtles were a big toy for you as a kid.
Oh yeah.
What did you start customizing with the Mythic Legion stuff? Is that where it started, or were you doing stuff with Marvel Legends and other things before that? Or
it was happening long before. Even as a kid, you're pulling up random materials and you're kind of just throwing them on your toys and kind of switching things up and you're experimenting. But it gets more complex when there's money involved and you can buy paint, you can buy clay, you can, purchase different things to kind of augment it. But so I would say maybe around, 2023? Maybe like 7 years ago. That's when I started kind of mixing it up with clay and kind of taking some, beat up action figures, repairing them, mixing them up and kind of changing them. I think one of the first Marvel customs that I did, I took a 3 3/4 Wonder Man, and it was just little itty bitty thing. It was like Marvel Infinite Series or something like that, and I painted it up, dry brushed it, added some silicone, made a nice ice slide. I turned into an Iceman.
Okay.
It was so weird. I'm like, wow, this is great. This is leagues above what I would do with pipe cleaners and sheets of foam and things like that. And it was just such a satisfying feeling and to venture into different mediums. And I think if you can find ways to channel what you're doing into, different levels and different platforms and different techniques, you find yourself transcending into a whole different beast altogether.
So then I'm guessing you got a 3D printer at some point and started kind of fiddling with that? 1
became 2, 2 became 3, and then I got like an army of them behind me over here. But as the need and desire to create kind of grew, you couldn't wait. I couldn't wait 12 hours for a print to finish.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let's get that one going while I work on this. And you start tasking. They're like your little robot friends. You task them each with something to do, and it just becomes this little factory of sorts.
So tell us about that, like getting your first one, because I know a lot of people get nervous about 3D printing and how to do it, and obviously there's chemicals involved, and not sure how it's going to turn out, and it's a good chunk of money to put down for one of those. So tell us about your decision to get one and what that was like when you first got into it.
Yeah, like I was mentioning before, reproducibility had become one of those desired effects that was elusive to me. You know, I couldn't get the same results molding and casting. I was shrinking things and trying to get different results for sizing, and I'm like, this is expensive and very time consuming, and I need a solution. And you know, I just happened to stumble upon a sale for a Mars One from Elegoo, and I'm like, let me give this thing a shot. So I, buy the printer and I do a couple test prints. I'm like, okay, can of worms opened. Let us proceed. And it was craziness from there. I started, watching YouTube videos and kind of experimenting, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't. And a lot of failures, a lot of money lost in the beginning, and any investment in something that you love will be like that. But as you learn and as you grow, you learn techniques and tricks, and you learn to navigate those obstacles a bit better. So throughout the years, I've wasted my fair share of resin, but it's gotten me to a place where I feel comfortable, just printing up anything I can make. I know exactly how to print it to make it work and come out nice for my friends and I. So
that's
definitely a good investment. Of course, observe all the safety protocols, PPE, and treat your custom components with the utmost care, because if you plan on selling them, you best make sure that it's safe for your end user. Curing, making sure things are cured. If you're painting, make sure your paint is sealed. If it's gonna end up in you don't know who's gonna end up with the parts, so you just make sure you take the highest degree of care when you're distributing things like that.
And what does your wife think about your collecting and your customizing and your the side business and everything? What are her thoughts on this?
She supports it as long as there's a dollar sign at the end of the conversation. So she's very supportive. She's actually pretty crafty herself. She makes planners from scratch.
Oh, cool!
Wow.
She makes bead jewelry, and she's pretty wicked with the cricket. She actually made this hat for me, and she makes all of my shirts.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome. So she's very, very good, but trying to get her to fully engage in Mythic Customs, that takes a lot of begging and pleading and dragging into the workshop to kind of see the vision. So I'm trying to get her on the same page as us so she can help out, because I think having your spouse support you in that regard it makes everything so much sweeter.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. I look at see Jessam and his wife, and they're like this awesome duo. Really great stuff. So
yeah,
very cool.
And if you can get her to start using her skills to help you out, get that cricket and get some logos for shields and things like that. Like,
or and you one hand washes the other. I know resin and all that stuff can be toxic and dangerous. Like, if there's any way to help with the planner stuff with some 3D printing, if you could.
Absolutely.
There you go.
I don't know. I don't know enough about planters to know if that would even be somehow integrated into that, but
anything helps because as it is now, I'm a one-man show. I design everything, I print everything, and when it's painted, I paint everything and get the shop going. So if I could maximize my time in a different way, I can invest more time in designing better things and designing more things at a higher frequency, because I'm admittedly very slow when it comes to putting out but if like you said, one hand washes the other. Teamwork makes the dream work. So
absolutely,
having family help you, it's great. It's really great.
So, are you have a table at LegionsCon this next year?
Oh yeah. It's I'm trying to secure as big a table as possible. I might get two. My goal is to set up a goblin shoot-a-thon with the catapults.
Oh, nice.
I had wanted to do it with this past LegionsCon, but I wanted the focus to kind of be on the project I was working on with Melissa. And I just didn't have enough time to print everything, because I also jumped into the FDM printing world. So a lot of those components are printed on that. So just set up some Mythic Legions games where, you're just chucking goblins for points and there's a grand prize. And I wanted to make a whole tournament out of it. And,
okay. So you're making us the first Mythic's Legions Carnival game.
I call it the Myth Olympics.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. Do you have any other shows? I know you said you're going to have a few others that you're planning on going to this year, but do you have any others that you're setting up a table at, or is it just LegionsCon?
I have a table at ChrisCon. Still debating if I'm going to do a table for ToyCon, but ToyCon is in June in Parsippany, New Jersey, and ChrisCon is in Massachusetts. I forget the name of the town, but it's a great place. Yeah, so definitely going to have tables at least one of those, and definitely.
Okay.
You just say goblins enough times, and it brings people out.
Kirby came out of the woodwork. Goblins.
Yeah.
Yes, I do name them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do you, I was thinking that too. And you call them your little robot friends. They have little nicknames, or do you just call them like the names of like what their printers are? Or...
Yeah, that's Fred. There's George, and that's Fred Jr. And this is Jenny over here. Yeah. Jenny
now it kind of sounds like you just came up with that on the spot.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at improv. Yeah.
Now, will they be Fred, George Jr., and Jenny tomorrow?
They'll probably be A, B, C, or D, depending on how they perform. Cuss words enabled also.
Awesome.
That's really cool, man. I can't believe we've been talking almost 2 hours already. It feels like we just started.
Oh, yeah, you just started, man. Jeez.
Is that right? Is that really been 2 hours? Is that 2 minutes? I can't tell.
No, it's been almost 2 hours.
Wow. I think someone in the chat is excited for ChrisCon.
We are all excited.
Yeah. I've never been to ChrisCon. I don't even know. I can't remember if I saw pictures last year. Is it about the same? Like what is the scale size compared to another con?
Believe it or not,
it's like somebody's
actually started as a backyard kind of meetup, a collector.
Oh yeah,
that was year one. Year two, did it last year in the hotel, and it was such a big hit. I mean, for a small size con to have that degree of quality, I mean, they had dial setups where you could take pictures of the dials and the figures that you brung. They had
that's cool.
They had this Marvel Legends bath station where it was like this big pile of, bath pieces, and people, kids, grown-ups alike would come and just build their own Build-A-Figure. That was cool.
That's cool.
Was, I think, like every hour there was a raffle prize being awarded. Very well run by Chris and his crew. Dan Larson from Toy Galaxy was there. Four Horsemen was there. Valaverse was there as well. So some pretty heavy hitters were on the scene. Dorklair was there too. He had a table. It was a really, really good show. It's like a heavily concentrated beverage. It's just like so much flavor and such a little drop. Like it was just so good. So, but this year it's gonna be even bigger. So,
that's awesome.
It kind of
very cool.
LegionsCon's vibes. I think it will follow the same trend, that uptrend in popularity. So keep a lookout for ChrisCon.
That's cool.
Very cool. Yeah, and they did a custom contest at ChrisCon, right?
Yes, that was extremely fun. Some of the best customs I've ever seen. I threw my hat in there too, but it was such a great show. Such a great show.
Awesome.
Did you have some photos, Jesse, lined up of?
Oh my gosh!
Stuff that we wanted to show.
We got talking so much. Yeah, I went back and I just grabbed a couple of your pics, Steph, off your Instagram. I thought we could talk through a couple of these.
Yeah, you want to talk about this one here?
Yeah. That's the Yggdrasil bow I did for Legion Shop.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love that bow.
That was one of the ogre-sized weapons. That one actually had a wooden handle. I had done bows in the past, and I found that when I string them and the string actually creates tension on the handle and will ultimately snap, especially if you're swapping them out with hands and things like that. So I decided to use a wooden dowel to connect two pieces for the bow to kind of increase its tensile strength. So, for anybody who's using it, they can pull that string back as far as they'd like without having to worry about the part break.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
Now, what about that head sculpt? Is that something you did too?
Yeah, that's a character I called Overlord Mizar. It was one of the first sculpts I did when I first opened up my shop. That was actually a freestyle also. I had done like a regular face, a regular head, and I decided to just kind of throw this wonky horned helmet over him, and it worked, and it's actually one of my favorites.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I was in the the holiday spirit around that time. It's funny. Noah Pratt, anything's posable. He hits me up. He says, he's working on the Santa custom, and he needs like some Christmas themed weapons. And I had been sculpting the cane at the time and the flail, and I ended up changing gears and changing the edge of the end of the flails from spiked balls to jingle balls, Christmas ornaments. I called it the Jingle Bell Flail of Pain. That was supposed to be a candy cane sickle.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of came together. It was just a little something fun that kind of I did for the holiday season. And Krampus, of course, kind of hit the scene pretty hard too. So the inspiration was very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you see the flail that came with the Mezco Conan, where they've got like one of them
wired?
Yeah.
Wired. I actually did one early on. It was one of the first things I did for the shop. It was part of a 3-piece siege set. It had a poleaxe, the flail, and I forget, it was something else. But yeah, it was part of a 3-pack I did.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's good to see Mezco adopting some of the customizers' techniques in their
yeah, absolutely. Oh, this is gorgeous.
I tried to get them both in the same shot so you could see them side by side.
Yeah, this is actually something I never released on the shop. I had intended to make a 1.0 female torso to kind of go with this, use it with a dwarf or whatever have you, a 1.0 body. I had been watching Castlevania on Netflix, and I had been inspired by this character called Striga, and she was this really overpowered female vampire. I'm like, Mamma Mia! Like, so I just started going to town and made this this female head sculpt, and was hoping to kind of use it with some 1.0 night bodies, because I think that's one thing we're lacking outside of the 1.0 we have with Cosmic, that one female.
Vorga.
1.0 body unless it's a dwarf or a female like Ragna.
Yeah, I think Chris Ferrone is working on that interchangeable chest plate for a female torso for a 1.0,
Yes.
and I think this would go very well with that.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get those and those Vorga arms on there from the Cosmic. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, you may want to hook up with Chris and release that at the same time.
Yeah. Ah, yes. This is what I call a Detourian Dragoon. One of the head sculpts I had intended to release also, but things with the kid kind of got a bit cumbersome. So he's still on the books. I have about maybe 20 of them. Just kind of waiting for prep. Got to prime them up, try to paint a few. Actually, in this printer right here, 3 of them just finished not too long ago before I shut down shop.
Awesome.
But yeah,
are these 1.0 size?
1.0. Yep.
Okay.
I do have a size for brute scale.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'll probably feature this first on brute scale. And,
nice.
And offer it up on the shop.
That's cool. That weapon's badass right there.
Thanks, man. That's the custom that's actually a ChrisCon. That's the custom
okay.
The contest. You see the ChrisCon banners in the back. But yeah, this was a Frost King bath from DC. I had bought it on sale, and of course it was missing paint. It was just all grayed out. So I threw on an Overlord head and repainted the torso and added some some faux chainmail. Used some speaker mesh. It has a great texture to it. And
nice.
Dry brushed silver. Looks like just like chainmail. So it's like perfect.
Now this is that same head from that first shot with the bow, right?
Yep, same
just a
one.
different paint.
Yep.
Very cool.
Thank you.
I love that club, man. That just
it's brutal.
You're gonna have a bad day after that thing says hello.
Yep. Yes, this is actually one of my newer pieces. I'm actually running some test prints this week. I wanted to do some for the weekend so I could hand them out at the show, but the weather wasn't cooperating and my printers are, I don't want to run them too cold, but this is actually something a little bit different for me. Kind of leaning toward historical accuracy, but me being rebellious and not wanting to follow the rules, I kind of just added my own little twist on things. But this is something I call the Queen's Guard. I was inspired by the retailer's only wave, and I thought it would go great with a character like what was shown, the Golden Knight.
Oh yeah,
I think that would go great on that one. With
man,
very regal, very sharp and lithe in a lot of ways. But I definitely want to go for something like that. I have it actually. This is part of a series. There's 2 or 3 more things I haven't posted with this one, but throughout the next couple of weeks, you'll see me drop those on the site and on my Instagram.
Man, that's awesome. I love that Queen's Guard thing, and the fact that you said that you were inspired by is it Sir Legia, or I'm not sure how to pronounce the name of the.
Oh, the
gold, the new one in the retail exclusive.
His name is Gold Knight with 2 heads and multiple bodies. Yeah,
it's fake.
But having him, I love the fact that figure is coming with a helmet that fits both the elf and the orc head.
Yes.
And you saying like that, now I want to get this and see what else you do and make them Artemis's personal guard.
An elite guard, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because I love that. Was that the word for that? The etching on that. You do really beautiful stuff with that. Like I have some of your bigger weapons that have that, and just the elegance, sophistication, and just like storytelling that this adds. That these guys, it's either like a family thing or an earned role that like not anybody just walks around with a blade like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's very ornate.
And it looks like it'll do its job.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Little fun with Gabo and Ogre over here.
It looks like that thing would pull him over.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, this is going to be you're and your kiddo a couple of years learning some wiffle ball in the backyard.
Yeah, I know, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Did you do that Dio in the background?
No, my buddy Chris DTour Customs made this for me. This was something I commissioned to. He's not really a medieval fan. He's more a Marvel Punisher. I said, hey man, if you make me a castle, I'll get you a couple mezcals and look at it. He's like, you better give me my damn mezcal, and he made it. and I
really
use it.
Cool.
It's and one thing I'll always cherish is if my friends make me something, or give me something. Like if I get something in the trade, I'll be completely removed from anything if I were to get rid of it. So I keep things like this Dio. Like if I get like a figure of trade, like I'll cherish it forever. Like Brian, Action Figure Neverland, he got me a Ravena for my birthday some years ago, and it's one of my favorite figures, and I keep it locked up just so I'm not tempted to mess around or trade it for anything. But these figures, these things we get, they have a lot of sentimental value, and that's something I appreciate and cherish a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. Does that gate come down?
It does.
Operable?
It does.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he made everything practical. That's his whole mantra. If it's not practical, I don't want it.
That's cool.
Was he set up with you at the Toy Con? Was that who was with you at your booth, like at the same table with you 2 years ago?
Was he there? Yes, that was him. That
was
like
Chris. The farmhouse, like
that was him.
Diorama, because I picked up like barrels and like stuff for Marvel Legends and Ninja Turtle stuff, and then that was right as I was falling hard into Legions, and I have those things displayed, but like I never got into the photography with that stuff.
Yeah, that's Chris for you.
Yeah, his stuff was really cool looking too.
That's awesome. Yeah, every now and then I get I'm able to get my wife to put some dios together for me. So she's been working on soft goods lately. So she's been working on some capes the last few days.
That's love right there.
Soft goods for you?
Yes, some extras.
So I'll eventually let that go, Curtis, but I'm gonna play that up for a while.
Yeah. I'm gonna be at LegionsCon. I'm gonna have a table within the Wolf King section. I'm not sure what all I'm bringing. I'm definitely gonna have some painted parts, but I would like to have some stuff for my wife there too, be either soft goods or dios. So we'll see. I don't want to put any pressure on her, but she does a really awesome job. She's got, I've got a few pictures up on some of the stuff that she's done for me, and I really love it. So, and awesome. When you can. When you have, not only does your spouse put up with your shit and you're collecting, but contributes to it, it makes it even that much better. So,
yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Cool. I'm going to scroll back up here. I want to bring this back up before we get close to wrapping up here. Curtis, ask another question or something. Hold on. I'm looking for something.
Steph, what are the things you're looking forward to this year?
Well, I think seeing you guys has become such a highlight for me. Even like today, I've got all those Legions already. I didn't need to pick up any more. But just knowing that people you call friends who are really family, that you guys are there. I'm driving. I don't care. It's a no-brainer. I was bummed that I didn't go yesterday, and I got up this morning. That meme with the kid with the handful of sand. He's like, never again, So
yeah.
I drove like mad. Me, Lenny, Kingpin Patino drove out there. I was so excited to see everybody. The first embrace is like, it's therapy, man. Like every day we go to work and we go through the monotony and the routine, and this is our opportunity to kind of heal the wounds of adult stress and kind of decompress and really enjoy the things we love. So it's great, man. I'm looking forward to bringing my son to his first LegionsCon.
That should be awesome.
Yeah, he's walking now, so by LegionsCon he's probably going to be running away.
You'll be chasing him around.
Yeah. To my chest, like, don't move.
You can get Curtis to keep an eye on him and Billy Beige in the lobby.
I'm gonna get a center. I'm gonna ask Duarte to build me a one scale cage for him.
You have to get one of Melissa's like straps for the ogre.
Yeah.
Throw your kid on the back.
Not going anywhere, kid.
How long have you known Lenny?
Oh man, I met him in person last LegionsCon, but we've been following each other on social media for about a year or so. But it's always great to put a name to the face, and I found out he was local to me. I'm in Long Island, New York, and he's in the city. So I was like, that's a no-brainer, man. We gotta consolidate as much as we can, and take advantage of that proximity and really connect with each other. And when we have the opportunity, Legions meetups, doesn't have to always be for LegionsCon or the regular conventions on a Saturday when no one's doing anything, or if you have the time during the weekday, hey, let's meet up for a coffee or some choice adult beverages. You know what I'm saying? But it's connecting that way that kind of makes everything so much more meaningful.
Well, I need you to send a message to him, because I knew Lenny before I got into Mythics, and he was in another toy group I was in, and he ran a absolutely awesome Secret Santa for another toy group. And that's what I think we need. I know Eric Miller did the one with the custom heads for a few years there. But I think just a straight up Secret Santa Cabal style, I think Lenny could make that happen. So
agreed.
Put a bug in his ear for me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
So.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse, I bought you some time. Did you think
Thank you. Well, I wanted to get the DTourCustoms.com comment back up there so for people to
very nice
go check out your page and stuff. And look forward to
and
seeing
you still have stuff on Legion Shop right now too, right?
Yes, and
and
there's also more stuff coming to Legion Shop soon too. So I didn't forget about the Shop family.
Good,
awesome.
And
I'm going to agree with
you. You can tease for us that's coming up that we should be excited for.
How do you guys feel about glow in the dark?
Oh, love it.
It light ups my night.
Okay,
there you go.
Inbound.
Okay, we'll let Cullen know to be on the lookout.
He's on cloud 9 right now. He is.
Oh, he's happy.
He is.
He's happy. I'm glad that they not only did they put that out, but they actually gave it a blue tint with the lights on, so that you can tell the difference between that and the original Hagnon. So yeah, good stuff.
Science.
I'm going to agree with Danny and with what you were saying. I didn't realize how kind of flat I was feeling about a lot of stuff until I got to the hotel and ran into Danny and then seen everybody yesterday morning. So just super appreciative of being able to spend that time with everybody. It was definitely like a blessing and a luxury to get to spend the whole 2 days with everybody, getting to see you for a little bit and like watching you bounce around, talking to everybody. Like every time I turn around, I see you just talking it up with other people. And it's just so cool. I know Zola was a huge boost to the Cabal and Legions last year. So I'm excited to see how many new people are going to be kind of like, hey, I just found these at ZoloCon this weekend, going forward. So
follow the cardboard boxes that you saw online.
Yeah. Oh man, so many cardboard boxes.
I'm kind of feeling the same about MuskeCon coming up. I mean, I'm 2 weeks away, and like it's been a few months since LegionsCon, and I need my fix. I need to see some folks, hang out. So I'm excited. So anybody wants to come up to Michigan, 2 weeks, March 11th. It's going to be a good time. So
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Someone asked earlier in the chat, I forget who it was. They asked about Wolf King showing up at Toylanta. I don't want to speak for them specifically, but I'm pretty sure that's probably not going to happen. Len sticks pretty close.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he'll be at I think RetroCon is coming up. We'll definitely be at MuskeCon. I'm not sure what other shows. He'll definitely be at PowerCon and LegionsCon, but I'm not sure of any other ones right off the bat. So.
I don't think he's doing PowerCon. It didn't sound like he was doing PowerCon.
Oh, he's not gonna. I thought he was going to PowerCon.
He'd love to do it, but it's always the same. It like falls on the weekends. His family does their vacation.
Gotcha. I know he'll be at RetroCon for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, good stuff. Appreciate you showing up, Steph. It was a good show, and actually both of you, not only racing home after the con today, but then jumping on and having a good show here. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, it was great to have you. Anything else you want to plug before we wrap up with you?
Just want to say again, Biblical Adventures, the Kickstarter is going. Go check it out. Of course, pretty sure everybody who's already in Cabal, but also check out these two guys. Just Shelve it. Art by Ackerman. Come on. Cream of the crop. Beautiful work. Dials, painted pieces, and just a robust, colorful storyline of everything you could imagine. Definitely go check these guys out. Bread and butter right here. Check them out.
Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you very much, Steph. And check out DTour Customs on Instagram and wherever you subscribe to subscribable things that he does.
There you go.
All right. You just want to
plug what we've got coming up, Jesse?
Yes, I do. We've got coming up next weekend, Zombie 13, aka Eric Borges, will be joining us on the Shelf next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Coming to talk. He's got some fun stuff at Wolf King. He opened up my eyes to making a female fuzz monk with his pop and swap last year. So Yeah, Eric Borys, Zombie 13, joining us next week on the
Very
Shelve.
elusive Zombie 13. I think
Yes.
I don't think I think the last show I saw him on was Mythic Customs. I think it's been over a year. So
he's been on something in the last year, either Legion's Lounge or Legion's
Oh,
Lair,
really?
talking to someone. I know because
Gotcha.
I saw him on something live since ZoloCon last year.
Gotcha. I'm excited to talk to him. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And then we've got do we have a show coming up soon with Sean and the Dooch that we want to talk about? Or is that not finalized yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
So stay tuned to the group chat for that. Maybe.
Gotcha.
We'll see. I potentially next Saturday night. If it's next Saturday night, it might be something else that will show up when it shows up.
Be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Steph, thanks again for joining us tonight. If you want to hang on real quick, we'll do our outro, and we'll unless you need to get going, but we'll catch up with you here in a second. Or if you need to bounce, that is totally cool. But thank you so much for joining us.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Steph.
All right, Curtis, chat, Steph, thanks for joining us. Everybody in the chat, again, if we missed pulling out one of your comments, thank you for being here, whether you're watching this now or on the replay later on. Thanks for your interaction. It's always great to see you out there. Anything you want to add, Curtis?
No, just had to throw up Danny's Mayo comment for you.
I'm going to throw up some Mayo comments. He found the Mayo machine at the future. I had to look at that 3 times, that picture, and I was like, what is this? I thought he like photoshopped the letters in the background. Nope, that was a thing. I found it today.
Yeah, I thought he was picking that up for you. Did he?
Yeah, it's still there. Thank goodness.
Hopefully that'll get delivered to your place in a couple days.
No. All right. Where's that video? All right, we're gonna wrap up. Curtis, we'll see you next week with Zombie. I'll catch you in messages. Everyone else, seeing the Cabal or wherever you're at. And as always, what's on your shelf?
See you guys.